Good evening. Welcome to Investigator News. I'm your host, Ellie, and this is William's show, though. So, William, this is your show, and I'm butting in. There you go.
Okay.
Ellie's feeling good, so she had a great show. If you guys missed it, the weather and lifestyle news, go on back and watch it. Bugs. William, there was bugs on there. Yeah.
I know. I was thinking, Vicks mentholatum or something up the old schnoz. Run them out.
I'm wondering how many's left. That was my worry. It's like they got 150, and it's like, did they miss any? But you got to go back and watch it, folks. So we want to go with Trump wins 100% of the Supreme Court for what was it, Colorado, William?
Yeah, the state can block a federal candidate from being on a ballot.
And the Supreme Court, what got me was 9-0. You don't see that much. Usually they're divided. At least two or three say no, we're going to go against it. But it was 9-0, and what they're saying.
Well, it was unconstitutional. That's why.
Well, because you should not bring politics into something like this, and every candidate has a right to the vote, and it's always been about that, and it's not politics in it and the laws and policies of voting. And I think that's what they looked at. So we have Illinois and I think Michigan. Right now, their best bet, I think, William, is to bow out and say, okay, we know what's going to happen with the Supreme Court, but they won't. And that leads into, let's look at what we have with Trump going into the election. And they're going to delay all this because if they're serious on letting Biden go all the way through, he cannot debate Donald Trump. He just can't. And we have known in history that there is a debate between the two big candidates. But if Trump has to go to court, he won't be able to make the debate. So more than likely that they can present Biden in his fullest, and then they're just going to let Trump go by the wayside with his rallies. That's what I predict. Um, um, and this is all to
talk about blocking candidates. I don't think a candidate should be able to be a candidate if they've already gone through rigor mortis.
Yeah. Well, 80, close to 8, I'm going to say 70, 80% of the country, even Democrats, say he shouldn't be in office at this point. And why? I think they're worried about the state of the wars happening, the threats against the United States, the border is one of their biggest, and the economy
itself. I'm worried about the country running out of depends.
Toilet paper. Water. Get this. They found a warehouse where the bottles had been stored for so long, they busted open. That tells you, even the water bottles, after so long, what is the water that it's going to cause a leak? So it's the plastic. And I think it's the plastic that breaks down after so long. But they said there might be a bottled water shortage. That was one of the things, the tabs I had for the first show that I couldn't find it again. So I wanted to bring it up. The other thing is something that me and William talked right before the show, that there was a bill that was passed many months ago for the border, and it looked really good. It was really strong. But the Democrats added in their few little things that it was going to put the cost on the American taxpayers. It went to the Senate, and the Senate sat on it. Even Mitch McConnell doesn't want to push it forward. Well, what it looks like is they may have for a big tax to be added in 2028. Now, what I've been able to find out through Mark Levin, Dan Bongino, Glenn Beck, and a few others is this tax will hit in 2028. And what their thought on this is that they're going to use this to pass it and say, look at what Donald Trump did. He did a heavy tax. It's something to go into 2028 to keep blaming Trump for the border. Um, um, uh, and now, the other thing was, I really wanted to get into was this Haitian gang leader barbecue. Now he let a bunch of he was able to open up some prisons to where there was thousands of prisoners that's got out that's willing to fight for him, and they're calling this an insurrection. And it's a good possibility that this barbecue, what a weird name, huh? That's his name. Barbecue will take over Haiti. Um,
Well, if his guys get out of Haiti and end up here, I think we should barbecue him.
that's it. And the other thing, and then I'll turn this all over to William, is cartel gunmen shoot down Mexican Army helicopter during a clash. You know, the Mexican government, the Mexican police aren't, they are trying to curb the cartel in Mexico, and they are fighting them. And this article goes on to say that they did have, they were going over cartel land. They were taking pictures. They also been using spy satellites to see where to go, where the cartel are not only using human trafficking, but the fentanyl and just where their training camps are. And this one time that they went over a sensitive area for the cartel, and they did have evidence that there was stuff there. They got into a clash. So now it's showing that the cartel is willing to, they've got helicopters, and they're willing now to go to war with Mexico. And the Mexican president says now he understands that this could take Mexico to the next step. And that's where I put on my last show that Mexico government is saying for the spring breakers not to go to Mexico. It's just, it's heating up. It's really heating up. And that's including Cancun. So, all right, William, if you want to add anything to what I said. If not, I'm just going to throw you up there, big screen, and I'm going to sit off to the side.
So it's being said that if you're part of a no-name party or an independent party, and your name is Nikki Haley, you can only help President Donald Trump get elected. So that's interesting. And now we're starting to hear some rumblings about a certain new ticket that may be coming in the future. And it would probably surprise you all. A Clinton-Harris ticket. We could have word salad with a side of anger. All right. This is a shock report. This is shocking, I tell you, shocking. Turns out that electric vehicles release more toxic emissions than does a gasoline-powered automobile over its lifetime. So I can't take any more of this EV shock reports and these climate alarmist reports. If it keeps happening, Ellie, I'm going to run out to the sidewalk and jump off the curb. I mean, I can't take it anymore.
There were square clouds. the economy guy that I watch, uh, uh, not economy, ecosystem guy. He was reporting on square clouds, and he said
Wow, you
that's not
finally caught up,
normal.
huh?
How does Mother
Surprise,
Nature create
surprise.
square clouds? And it wasn't just once; it was multiple times. And he said that's a sign if somebody's making them. Uh, and uh, I think the Green New Deal's going is leaving, William. I think a lot of people just don't believe in it no more. And they're not going to fall for
So it's
these
not,
EV cars.
the Green New Deal is word salad for, right, digital, becoming a digital life form, transhumanism. So now they want us to all have, I guess, these robots to go around and take care of us that are all suffering from some sort of a loss of their sexuality, and then they're confused. And why are we paying for this stuff if they don't know what they are? Just saying. All right. So we have a spike in death going on from drugs, anxiety drugs. It turns out that there's been some people taking too many anxiety drugs.
Are those the SSRIs?
Just like Xanax, just it'll knock you out stuff. Anyway, yeah, and then they run out. Surprise. Okay. Now, there's been a comparison between the Trump White House and the Biden White House. In the Trump White House, they have too much Xanax, but in the Biden White House, too much cocaine. I don't understand it. It was just in the news.
The whole cocaine thing stems from the Clinton administration. Biden, not Biden, Bush, because we're talking Air America and the Contras and the Sandinistas, and then it goes into the Clintons.
They were talking
and
about
so
Hunter Biden.
Everybody that the Clinton put in office, William, was Biden. Made sure Biden was in there, Pelosi was in there, and if you Waters, Jackson Lee, if you look at their kids, they're all strung out on cocaine.
Well, yeah, and then you've got the people that got stuck in the White House with Trump that weren't really ready for him, so they had the Xanax thing going on. Okay. So there's a report that across the board voters give better marks to President Trump's policies across the board than they do with President Biden's policies across the board. I swear they said that. They did, Ellie. Okay. You know how Prescott Bush, if y'all remember why he couldn't run for office is because he was giving loans to the Nazis, right? And so they wouldn't let him run for office after World War II. So I think they should be doing the same thing with like Larry Fink and stuff like that, because they're over there getting involved with all these banking funds and whatnot in China, and it's going to turn out to be blood money just as well. So, yeah, I'm anti giving financial aid to the enemy.
New York City busted a place. It's almost like a hotel that was letting migrants stay for free. It got paid off, the owner, big time through the Biden administration, and they were housing migrants, and so a lot of them were illegals.
So the chief of staff for the mayor of New York is Chinese. Are you surprised to hear that? And is getting, help from China. So that might be why.
Yeah.
Now, Yasmin Anwar over there in Gaza has no intention of allowing a pause in the fighting on the Gaza Strip, even though the leader of Qatar, which is kind of Palestinian, leader of Egypt, and U.S. delegates are trying to get a deal on hostages. But Hamas isn't going to allow it because they don't want a temporary ceasefire. They want a forever ceasefire. And so they want hostilities brought to an end, both short-term and long-term.
William, isn't this what they wanted a long time ago, though? And then Israel kind of agreed to it, and then they did this in February where they bombarded them. And so Israel kept the ceasefire, but Hamas didn't.
Well, if I was Israel, no exchange, no peace. And I don't think that Hamas is going to allow there to be peace over Ramadan anyway, because it just goes in their favor for the news cycle. Now, the IDF is increasing more humanitarian aid into northern Gaza and helping people move to northern Gaza for safety. And the United States is doing airdrops of aid into northern Gaza now. So if you're in southern Gaza and you're hungry, take the safety corridor and go north. If you want to have food and shelter and whatnot. If not, it is what it is. Okay. According to MSNBC, the Colorado Secretary of State says she should be able to bar oath-breaking insurrectionists from her ballot. Not the people of Colorado's ballot, but her ballot. And I don't understand that, because the insurrectionists weren't insurrectionists in Colorado. They were in the District of Columbia. So she doesn't have any jurisdiction there. I'm surprised they think they have some sort of jurisdiction. Okay. Here's from Reuters or Reuters. Some of our fine German friends that are, generals and stuff in Germany got caught with an open mic, and they want to be bombing Russia and get NATO involved in the land war in Ukraine. So that's a surprise, right? Guess not.
Doesn't it seem like, though, William, every time it seems like no one's going to help Zelensky. then we get stuff like what Germany just did to Russia. It's and it's
Well,
a
they didn't bomb
war
them.
that,
They want us to bomb them.
well, it's a war I think that not only Europe but NATO and the United States and even the
Well,
UK never wants to end.
they just,
They're going to keep it going
they just
forever.
want the United States to fight it for them.
How long was the Afghanistan war? Wasn't that like,
Well, the Afghanistan war was a multinational war. So we had Denmark in there, we had
right?
the Brits in there, we had the French in there. That's a different deal.
Well, yeah, but how long did it last?
20 years.
See, I think that's what they want to copycat from. Is what I'm saying is, I think they want to copycat.
Yeah, that's what they want. The problem is who are trying to copycat that on has nuclear weapons and a viable air force, so it won't work that way.
That's right. That's right.
And if you're thinking that it'd be the same as Afghanistan, well, think again.
That's it.
So
you, I mean, you see, William, you can see where I'm coming from with this. They want this to be a forever war, and they're trying to use. I'm not saying they're going to copy it. They're just using points of that war to be able to keep this war going. Now, are we going to walk away and leave all our weapons with Ukraine? More than likely.
Well, we're not going to leave them there because they're already gone. Just saying. Most of them have been stolen already. So Mayorkas was down at the border with President Biden, and they had a press gathering in Brownsville, Texas, Tuesday, and Mr. Mayorkas was confronted with the breakdown of order and security at the border, and how and why he let the student come into the United States that was already wanted for murder that killed that co-ed girl at the University in Georgia, and apparently didn't have any words for him. No, like, I'm sorry. No, like, anyway, his parents came from Cuba. You know how this works out. All right, moving on. He's a first generation. Congress has passed a continuing resolution so that everything continues being funded down the road here. And yeah, so you don't have to worry about the government shutting down. You don't have to worry about them like cutting spending or anything like that, because they want to keep spending things and funding things like Southern Sudan. It's important. Moving on. So there's been some Democrat representatives, lawmakers that have admitted that Secretary Lloyd Austin, Secretary of Defense, that he is going to the hospital and ensuring that lines of communication were kept open were, well, kind of a failure. So he was AOL, which is, in the military they call that away without leave. And anytime you can't show up to work in the military, it is up to your commander to grant you leave. So it would have been up to President Biden to grant Lloyd Austin the opportunity to take leave. So yeah, that was a mistake by Mr. Austin. So Kamala Harris says there's far too many Palestinian civilians being killed. She just said Palestinians. Yeah, there are too many civilians being killed on both sides. So there's folks here in the YouTubes, right? That's where we're at right now. We're in the YouTubes that say that this election could lead to societal collapse if the Democrats lose and then start rioting with pink hats all over the nation. Pink hats all over the nation. Okay.
I think we'll see if the Republicans win. I think we're going to see the same fallout and crying in the streets. Remember the lady that you seen her bawling and crying and carrying on and sitting in the middle of the street during a protest. I think that's what we're going to see. We're going to see these.
Yeah, she went like full snot shot, right? She
Yeah.
was the one kneeling down
And I think that's what we're going to see. I think they're going to send their troops, Antifa, BLM, the LGBTQ, all of like the pink hats, and just simple Democrats are all going to hit the streets, and I think it's going to be chaos and riots. I think they're going to be riots and even an insurrection that will be had after if Trump wins, especially if Trump wins.
Wait, you have to lay waste to an entire country to have an insurrection if you're a Democrat. You know that, right, Ellie?
Yeah.
So they can't have an insurrection. They can have like a tiffy tantrum. All right.
Well, it's going to be a big one because I think they're all going to hit the streets, and it's going to be not forever, but it's going to be months worth. I mean, I'd even ask the chat room what they think, what they're seeing in reports. I just really think it's going to be, they're going to be looting, they're going to be burning, they're going to be, they're going to go after the cops in force because there's lack of.
I think Nikki Haley can't stop her campaign, just like Tory Newland can't stop, what she's got going on in Eastern Europe, because, if Tory Newland stopped the war in Ukraine with all her vested interests, then Nikki Haley would have to stop her campaign, because it doesn't make the state of India look good.
Back to what I was talking after if Trump wins, you have got governors that are trying to keep him off the ballot at this point, and I think that's where we're going to see the biggest damage because these governors will let it happen. We remember what Oregon and Washington with these no-go zones, and the governors, the mayors, and all that were okay. They just let it happen. And they were burning down federal buildings. And I'm really, during January 6th, they had those two bombs. That one was out in front of Senate or Congress or something like that. And I think that it's just going to be utter chaos if Trump wins. And is that to scare people off from voting? No, it's not. We just at least know that it's going to happen. And
everything that can happen will happen.
That's right. And if we hear it now, I mean, we're not going to repeat it over and over and over again like the media does to get you to believe it. We're just saying be prepared for it. And then if it doesn't happen, okay, that's great. But if it does, at least we knew what could happen. And that's something the GOP doesn't look into, is to be prepared for this. I think they're just going along with trying to get Trump out of these lawsuits and promote the GOP as the better party. But they have got to
That's
start
why
warning people.
That's why I'm filling up water balloons right now. I'm getting ready.
Yeah,
No, just water balloons. Just put the fires out.
that's it.
Turns out that there's a problem in Cleveland, Ohio. There are some horses that got on I-90 and are going for a trot. I'm thinking they're pretty happy around cars too, because maybe they're just Amish, some of our Amish hoot friends. Anyway, that was happening there in Cleveland. Enjoy your time with our fine furry friends. Yeah, so Kamala Harris is demanding now a Gaza ceasefire. I'm not sure she knows that that's not her war. And since when could a third country demand a ceasefire from another country trying to defend itself? And then we've got somebody that at least has two brain cells rubbed together. Mr. Fetterman says Israel are well within their rights to protect themselves. So I guess it's Fetterman 1, Kamala 0. Who expected that one, right?
He said it with t-shirt and sweats on, though. I'm teasing, William. Just
You're confusing me. Don't do that.
it just he's so casual, and she's so dumb. I hate to say that, but I've known Camilla Harris for, back in when she was just a lawyer in California, and everybody knew she was ditzy. Everybody knew she was dumb, and they called her that. But now she's a vice president, and nothing's changed. What you're seeing now is what we've seen in California early on. She hasn't changed any.
Boys and girls, you don't have to go to a university of law to get a law to pass the bar. Just saying, you don't have to do it. You can pass the bar tomorrow if you want to.
Well, look at Hillary. She went through it, and she's not even a lawyer. But she has lawyers, probably about 50 of them that stand behind her. But she could be a lawyer, but she's not. She failed. She failed as a lawyer here in our state. That's why she never took it to Washington.
How does that even happen? Anyway, so during that conference down in Texas, I'm sorry, not that. Senator Lee has brought up, as well as a Democrat senator, that counterterrorism threat at the southern border is completely out of hand. And also, the fires in the panhandle of Texas and Oklahoma have cost so many animals their lives, so many fields burned, so many houses lost. So
William, just something to think on.
There's not a lot more going on.
Something to think on, William. Up there around the panhandle and going even into Oklahoma, there are two Muslim training camps that are within miles of these fires. And that's just something
lucky. It didn't bother them. Don't
Well,
worry about it, Ellie.
oh, yeah, but I can insinuate they did it
Oh, well,
because it's
that's
not blowing their
what I
way.
was
They're
doing.
not in danger, and they're sitting pretty, and they're okay. And yet,
But if everything got burnt around them, whose fault is that?
that's it. But I'm just, it's only my opinion. There you go. It's my opinion that there's a good possibility they were a part of this because look at the California fires. We found out most of them were started by um, Antifa in California. Um,
So the South Dakota governor, what do you remember her name?
no,
The lady. Anyway, she signed a bill so that no foreign interest can buy farmland in South Dakota. Here's the problem I have. Why not property, period? They're not letting us buy property there. I mean, they shouldn't be able to buy a factory. They shouldn't be able to buy farmland. They shouldn't be able to buy a mine. They should, see what I'm saying?
mm-hmm.
They should invest in their own country. And I keep hearing this from governors. Well, you can't buy anything if it's within 10 miles of the military base. Or it's, stop it. Don't let foreigners buy property anywhere, anytime, for any reason. It's dangerous. It's bad for the country. Quit carving out loopholes. So that's basically all I have today, Ellie. There wasn't that much going on. Unless you want to go through the 25 who signed the PNAC Foundation statement. In the George W. Bush administration. There's a lot of names here, Ellie. Starts with Dick Cheney and Rumsfeld, Wolfowitz, Bolton, Gaffney, Weigel, Rowan, Rosen, Peter Rodman, Scooter Lib. We should have never even had this Homeland Security. It's been the biggest not serving the American people well of any department we've ever had. You give them priority over the border, they let everybody on earth come through. You give them priority of air safety, they make everybody get a CAT scan and an X-ray before they get on the airplane, and then they let all the people from wherever else they are in the country just come on through. We have to get rid of this whole Department of Homeland Security because, man, they are just not doing it. So it turned out that Hamas, they believe, inserted itself into the UNRWA aid from the United Nations that was paid for by the United States. And we know that because their leaders actually live in Qatar, you know, in $1 million villas. And they started out just being, you know, the local group leader in Gaza. So it's not too good. So there's a leader down in Brazil. I'm sorry, no. No, that's a different story. Sorry. That's kind of all I have, Ellie. There wasn't a lot going on except for the big question is whether or not there will be peace during the month of Ramadan in Gaza, and that's the big thing that's going on. And then, of course, the Senate got 2/3 vote to kick the spending bill down the road. So I don't know how many times they've done it 40 times in a row, I guess now, rather than come up with a whole year's budget. So yeah, those are just the biggest stories that I was seeing. And that's about it. So if you guys like what you hear today, share it. Give us a comment, good, bad. We like them. And give us a thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs both ways. Help us out with our algorithm so that we can grow our channel here on the YouTubes. Do you like how I call it the YouTubes, Ellie?
Yeah.
Yeah, because when I was in the military, we still had tubes we used for radio, right? And so, yeah, YouTubes. Because we would have had a whole bunch of them if we'd had a YouTube back then with YouTubes. We'd have had a lot of YouTubes. Lots of YouTubes. You know, just a television has 6 tubes. Yeah. All right. That's what we've got for Monday.
We'll see everybody Wednesday for the World War III report.
The 4th of March in the year of our Lord 2023. Please come back and see us for the World War III report, because I'm pretty sure we'll have a World War III report then, because the Germans want to be able to bomb Russia. And the French want to be able to send human waves into the fight. And there'll be something else by then. Anyway, thanks for giving me the opportunity to share, Ellie. I enjoy being able to do this on Mondays. We'll see you all same bat time and same bat channel Wednesday.